Home, home, home. Here to jam stand the monks of Sans No Man. Don't know whether we're coming or going, but we'll pause here for two, chant a quick verse or two, with our noses, our throats, and abdomens.
Hello and welcome to our Pennsic Denied concert. I am Master Cerian Cantwr.
And I'm Master John Inchingham the Fool.
And we are not at Pennsic.
We are sad.
We are in Peoria.
Very, very sad.
But we wanted to bring you this concert anyway.
Now this has been a hard year on everyone, so we thought long and hard about what piece we should begin this concert with, and we think we found the perfect song.
We are certain that this is a song that will help to cheer everyone up. This is a song about death and doom and gloom, misery, sorrow, and fear, destruction, heartache, and tragic loss. This song is from Callantyre. Heroes mighty and brave, hopeless odds they've defied. All of their valor does come to naught. In the end, everybody has died. Death, doom and gloom, misery, sorrow, and fear, destruction, heartache, and tragic loss. This song is from Callantyre. Beautiful maidens galore, some of them virtuous, some not. Whether saintly or sinful, their end is the same. They lie in a churchyard plot. Death, doom and gloom, misery, sorrow, and fear, destruction, heartache, and tragic loss. This song is from Callantyre. No matter the spears on the hill, or how hard the shield wall strives, the Saxons lose Hastings again and again, and nobody ever survives. Death, doom and gloom, misery, sorrow, and fear, destruction, heartache, and tragic loss. This song is from Callantyre. Both betrayer and the betrayed, both the evil and the good, whether moral or os or more, all of them now are kaput. Death, doom and gloom, misery, sorrow, and fear, destruction, heartache, and tragic loss. This song is from Callantyre. Everyone slit their own wrist, or fall down upon their own blade. Nobody lives, nobody loves, and nobody ever gets. Death, doom and gloom, misery, sorrow, and fear, destruction, heartache, and tragic loss. This song is from Callantyre. I think they're cheered up now.
I think they are.
Oh, good.
Oh, my name's Inchingham, I'm a squire, and me master's an Aztec named Ish. Sir Ish to Leash O'Sheetle, I'm in fief to a New World War chief. So I practice obsidian tactics, and I emulate Jaguar Knight stealth, but I can't gag the nagging conviction that I'm making a fool of myself. Yet I will wear this red belt with great honor, and I'll bring no disdain to this chain. If I never achieve martial prowess, then a squire till death I'll remain. As a servant of Sir Ish I'm also a disciple of sage Master Chen. Where these rare comrades go, fools will follow, though it's best to check maps now and then. To the ends of the earth we will travel, From Cathay to the conquest of Spain, joining Prester John to Montezuma. As we journey, I'll sing this refrain. I will wear this red belt with great honor, and I'll bring no disdain to this chain. If I never achieve martial prowess, then a squire till death I'll remain. To be a squire's a young man's endeavor. I've a beard now that's peppered with grey, and my body's grown fat, slow, and stupid. At this folly many asses will bray. But a fool never retreats from laughter. He knows well he has feet made of clay. So no matter the odds of disaster, Squire Inchingham calls forth today. I will wear this red belt with great honor, and I'll bring no disdain to this chain. If I never achieve martial prowess, then a squire till death I'll remain. Oh, my name's Inchingham, I'm a squire.
In an abbey on the coast of dear old England shores, an acolyte named Bunstable was told to do his chores. He did not have an inkling of just what fate had in mind. Patron saint of fermentation, alcohol, beer, mead, and wine. Guard the wine, guard the wine. No matter what may happen, you make sure that wine stays hid. Guard the wine, guard the wine. Now we all guard our wine like St. Bunstable did. Bunstable, he was a simple soul, he wasn't very bright, but he did his duty faithfully, morning, noon, and night. His tasks, they weren't too complex, with that would tax his head. One in particular was simple, this is what his abbot said. Guard the wine, guard the wine. No matter what may happen, you make sure that wine stays hid. Guard the wine, guard the wine. Now we all guard our wine like St. Bunstable did. One fateful day came Viking raiders like a dark wave on the coast. The abbey was unable to repel the Norsemen's host. Bunstable was in the cellar, heard them slaughter young and old, and though trembling with fear, he knew he'd do as he'd been told. Guard the wine, guard the wine. No matter what may happen, you make sure that wine stays hid. Guard the wine, guard the wine. Now we all guard our wine like St. Bunstable did. The cellar door, it had been locked, but the Vikings would break through. So grimly looking round, he knew exactly what to do. He broke open each and every cask. He did not think of flight. And when the deed was done, he drunk every drop in sight. Guard the wine, guard the wine. No matter what may happen, you make sure that wine stays hid. Guard the wine, guard the wine. Now we all guard our wine like St. Bunstable did. When the Vikings came downstairs, they were somewhat less than pleased that Bunstable had drunk the wine, there was none to be seized. They threatened Bunstable with flame, but when fire met his breath, there was a great explosion, and they all burned to death. Guard the wine, guard the wine. No matter what may happen, you make sure that wine stays hid. Guard the wine, guard the wine. Now we all guard our wine like St. Bunstable did. When the Vikings reached Valhalla, they were certainly surprised. And for his act of bravery, Bunstable was canonized. It truly is a miracle to drink up as he did, and it is to his credit that he kept the wine well hid. Guard the wine, guard the wine. No matter what may happen, you make sure that wine stays hid. Guard the wine, guard the wine. Now we all guard our wine like St. Bunstable did. Now we all guard our wine like St. Bunstable did.
I did not write this next piece. The tune is taken from a traditional song, and the lyrics were written by Master Tivar Moondragon, first White Scarf of Anstiora, first White Scarf of the Society for Creative Anachronism, who recently passed away, and I sing it today in his honor. Come all ye young bravos, and list while I sing, for the love of adventure is a terrible thing. It banishes sense and it drives you insane, and it makes you a part of the swashbuckling game. My name it is Dormouse. I've just gone 19. My home is in Stargate. 'Tis there I was weaned. I was taught all my lifetime Don Tivar to blame, because he invented the swashbuckling game. I was just 17 when I wandered away, and I went to a tourney of the bold SCA. I'd read of D'Artagnan, and I wanted the same, to play out my part in the swashbuckling game. They told me of Gilwell and Tullamore Dew, of Robin and Leisha and Gallowglass too. They gave me a red scarf, let me kill and maim, and they made me a part of the swashbuckling game. And now I'm Dundermast, and a seneschal too. They say I'm important, I think I've been screwed. They stuff me in teapots, make fun of my name, and they're all out to kill me in this swashbuckling game. Come all ye young bravos, and list while I sing, for the love of adventure is a terrible thing. It banishes sense and it drives you insane, and it makes you a part of the swashbuckling game.
If ever you're in the Antarctic, beware of a beast most foul, for death comes on waddling feet there, across the ice where this monster does prowl. Yes, death comes on waddling feet there, across the ice where this monster does prowl. At first you may think it a cute beast, as it awkwardly towards you does trek, but you may revise your opinion when it buries its fangs in your neck. Ow! Yes, you may revise your opinion when it buries its fangs in your neck. It will drain dry your blood for its supper. There are bright crimson stains round its mouth. Oh, beware of the vampire penguin, the feathered fierce scourge of the south. Yes, beware of the vampire penguin, the feathered fierce scourge of the south. This foul fiend is always quite surly, as it strikes with a squawk and a shriek. Oh, this gruesome bird always is grumpy. The 4 fangs don't fit well in a beak. Yes, this gruesome bird always is grumpy. 4 fangs don't fit well in a beak. Stay far from the flock while they're hunting. Don't be fooled by their cunning disguise. No, those aren't nuns there before you. Tales of Antarctic convents are lies. No, those aren't nuns there before you. Tales of Antarctic convents are lies. So heed well these words of my warning. Steer clear of this dapper dressed beast, and don't drop your guard for a moment, or the vampire penguin will feast. No, don't drop your guard for a moment, or the vampire penguin will feast.
The other day down in old Ribbon Star marked the crowning of King Palymar. The lesson learned on that date, never plan to coronate on a gift horse from Katia. The steed of state runs with hasty grace. Grab the reins, through the rain you will race. Though you gallop far and wide, in a circle you must ride. The regal relay is an endless chase. Palymar begat reign number 3, astride a stubbornly naughty Palfrey. That whirling dervish of a horse showed kings are subject to the course of the Middle Kingdom manic derby. The steed of state runs with hasty grace. Grab the reins, through the rain you will race. Though you gallop far and wide, in a circle you must ride. The regal relay is an endless chase. One ride adds a count to your name. After 2, as a duke you are famed. But the 3rd time around, you're just a fool with a crown, lacking sense to keep out of the rain. The steed of state runs with hasty grace. Grab the rein, through the rain you will race. Though you gallop far and wide, in a circle you must ride. The regal relay is an endless chase. Yeah!
Brewed with barley of renown, the ambrosia that's brown, the finest foam that ever topped a head. Filled with porter or with stout, your glass should never be without the beer that's Ballydoyle brewed and bred. If your throat's feeling dry, there's a drink you must try. You'll shout and you'll cry if the flow ever stops. Every lad and every lass of any rank or class will find heaven in a glass of barley malt and hops. So see that you do drink the brew, that is true, for 'tis thicker than stew, could be sold by the slice. 'Tis topped with the finest foam, what could float a paving stone, makes a meal all on its own, does this pint of paradise. Brewed with barley of renown, the ambrosia that's brown, the finest foam that ever topped a head. Filled with porter or with stout, your glass should never be without the beer that's Ballydoyle brewed and bred. The tippling of liquor will get you drunk quicker, but make you much sicker than you've ever been. And schnapps that are Prussian or vodka which Russian will have your face flushing a queer shade of green. So see that you choose to politely refuse whenever such brews are offered your way, for 'tis better by far to fill up your jar with the beer black as tar, brew the Ballydoyle way. Brewed with barley of renown, the ambrosia that's brown, the finest foam that ever topped a head. Filled with porter or with stout, your glass should never be without
the beer that's Ballydoyle brewed and bred.
Now I've told my tale, shun Pilsner or Pale Ale. Transparent brews will fail when compared to dark brown stuff. Black as midnight, dark as peat, none could ever be, say sweet. See-through beer cannot compete, who could ever get enough? So live life with zest, fill your mug with the best of the beer that is blessed in the Ballydoyle way. For there's good in every drop, frae the bottom to the top. It can cause all ills to stop, cure the sick and heal the lame.
Brewed with barley of renown, the ambrosia that's brown, the finest foam that ever topped a head. Filled with porter or with stout, your glass should never be without the beer that's Ballydoyle brewed and bred. The beer that's Ballydoyle brewed and bred.
Young Talbot was a shoemaker, dwelt in peaceful vanished wood, where time itself was loath to pass, and a cobbler's life was good. But young Talbot yearned for danger and ventures. Then came missives from the king, crying war, urging all prepare therefore. Brave Talbot joined a war band, though they'd no helms nor hauberk coats. So cobbler turned in armourer, learned so well his friends did boast. Free militia laughs at danger and ventures, clad in Talbot's homemade mail. Safe, secure, march we now where glory lures. Thus Master Talbot went to war, quickly learned to maim and slay. He rose in rank as friends did fall, glory's lure soon slipped away. Bloody years he passed in danger and ventures, till came plaudits from the king. Warrior, don ye now these knightly spurs. Sir Talbot knelt before his king, but the sovereign bade him stand. Say, worthy knight, what post you prize, high office or field command? You've a heart and hand for danger and ventures, fealty's duty you fulfilled. With great skill, as reward ask what you will. Now Talbot is a shoemaker, dwells in peaceful vanished wood, where time itself is loath to pass, and a cobbler's life is good. He no longer yearns for danger and ventures, he hath proved his worth at war, and returned. Wise Talbot is a shoemaker.
I want the full mo of my sad tale of woe. Beneath a full moon I grow fur and a tail. This lunar-linked mess has me in distress, and at my misfortune I rail. Oh, 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 Miguel El Seyama, he is a Were-Llama, who's saddened each month by the beast he becomes. For it is no treat to trade hands for feet. You can't play castanets without thumbs. I saw a strange sight beneath full moon's light, a lone llama wandering wherever it chose. I tried to give chase, but it spat in my face, and then it bit me on my nose. Ow, 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 Miguel El Seyama, he is a Were-Llama, who's saddened each month by the beast he becomes. For it is no treat to trade hands for feet. You can't play castanets without thumbs. The pain was colossus in my poor proboscis. I quickly felt sickly, my body went numb. My weight, it did double, my diet's in trouble. I started to eat grass and hum. Hum, hum, hum. Miguel El Seyama, he is a Were-Llama, who's saddened each month by the beast he becomes. For it is no treat to trade hands for feet. You can't play castanets without thumbs. My mind was so blurry with worry, I'm furry, my memory so mixed up a mozzie morass. I woke scared to death with the worst morning breath and a mouthful of partly chewed grass. Yuck! Yuck! Blah!
Were-Llama, he is a Were-Llama, who's saddened each month by the beast he becomes. For it is no treat to trade hands for feet. You can't play castanets without thumbs.
So now I get fleas which itch and I sneeze, much to my unease. I'm allergic to wool. My teeth I do gnash, 'cause I'm covered in rash, and dandruff flakes foul and frightful. Oh, I itch!
Were-Llama, he is a Were-Llama, who's saddened each month by the beast he becomes. For it is no treat to trade hands for feet. You can't play castanets without thumbs.
So do not be girt with a shaggy hair shirt. Steer clear of queer quadrupeds in the moonlight. Leave llamas like me, wear lycanthropy, or else you will share in my plight.
Remember, Were-Llama, he is a Were-Llama, who's saddened each month by the beast he becomes. For it is no treat to trade hands for feet. You can't play castanets without thumbs.
One more time!
Were-Llama, he is a Were-Llama, who's saddened each month by the beast he becomes. For it is no treat to trade hands for feet. You can't play castanets without thumbs.
Oh, the king sent a summons to every shire and town, calling all to Pennsic war. So I pleaded with my love to give me leave to go, and test my mettle against the tiger's roar. Fool husband, said my wife, you're not built for such strife. Stay at home with our bonny baby. Sides the king of the middle has so many men, he'll have no need of thee. But the war was lost for the sake of a battle. The battle was lost for the sake of a skirmish. The skirmish was lost for the sake of a man, and that God-forsaken man was me. Well, I might have been an archer with a bow of yew, loosing arrows like a deadly hail. Or I might have been a scout in the woeful woods, shadow dancing round the tiger's tail. Or I might have put on armor and learned how to fight, took my place in the shield wall like a man. But instead I hid as the king marched by, with his army of defenders of the land. And the war was lost for the sake of a battle. The battle was lost for the sake of a skirmish. The skirmish was lost for the sake of a man, and that God-forsaken man was me. Now the king came home late yester eve, battle bent and tiger torn. And his troops behind trod wearily, caked with mud and blood and gore. Not a single word of reproach was heard, for me, my wife, or the baby in my hands. But the thought unspoke through the silence broke, we'd have won if we had had just one more man. 'Cause the war was lost for the sake of a battle. The battle was lost for the sake of a skirmish. The skirmish was lost for the sake of a man, and that God-forsaken man was me. Yes, that God-forsaken man was me. Oh, that God-forsaken man is me.
Through all the years of Pennsic War, we've seen many a queer thing. From painful plagues to human croquet to cattle that must have had wings. But perhaps the strangest tale I know of doings at Pennsic War is the story of the first and only Pennsic Emperor. Sir Galem Lionel Ostwestley, a knight valiant and true, had not the faintest inkling of what fate would have him do. He took his place upon the field, armed with shield and sword, never knowing that by day's end he would be Pennsic's lord. The cannon went up with a roar, the melee it began. Slashing sword and thrusting spear put paid to many a man. Within the shield wall swirling midst Sir Galem he did slay, until he found his path was blocked. Tiger King did bar the way. The two men both moved purposefully, the other's life to seize. The Eastern King he vainly strove to bring Galem to his knees. Now Galem did not know his foe wore a crown upon his head. He only knew that some short man kept trying to take his leg. He grew a little tired of these luckless low-leg blows, and decided there and then of their author to dispose. Though short you are, you soon shall be a little shorter yet. Our monarch found he'd lost a foot as our knight lopped off his head. His man dispatched, Sir Galem looked for some new foe to attack, when suddenly an unseen hand did knock upon his back. Now, way back then, engagement rules were not what they are of late. If you began to turn, a sword would fly and seal your fate. So grimly raising up his sword, he threw as he turned round to find no foe, but Mid-Realm King, his guard completely down. The sword already on its way could not be called back home, and to the dragon's crown it flew, dropping Laurelin like a stone. Sir Galem went upon his way, though sorry for his king, and at day's end Duke Andrew said he'd done the damnedest thing. All hail Tiger and Dragon's Bane, both of whom you slew. There's no one left to run this war, and so it's up to you. You did not seek an emperor's throne, nor to rule a land so wide, and yet this day the one aware, you've done dual regicide. Sir Galem, he grew rather pale, as though suffering an attack. I do not want this crown, he said, and quickly gave it back. To those who dream of empires vast, think of our gallant knight. Though he did win imperial throne, he quickly saw the light. For if you kill all kings you meet, you might run out of luck. You could be crowned imperial, and then with the job be stuck.
One fine summer morn in a tree-girt sea, a ship sailed from afar. Oh, she danced so fair in the brisk dawn air, from her mast flew a lone black star. And hidden in her hold were we, Inchingham and bold Maria. To the mid-realm we went, to infect we were sent, by the mischievous god Tivar. We are the rats of the Rapier League, we spread the swashing plague, and you never know where we might next go till our plans are ripe and laid. We swum ashore by chance near the baronial manse of good Alfred of Chester, an upstanding man and leader of his clan, proud mid-realm Lord Proper. But we planted in his ear some fleas, carriers of our dread disease, and they crept in his brain, made him our captain, cardinal rat and chief plotter. We are the rats of the Rapier League, we spread the swashing plague, and you never know where we might next go till our plans are ripe and laid. Alfred, Maury, and me, the Ratketeers three, found the province gates unbarred, and the locals we diseased seem rather oddly pleased to form a mid-realm rapier rodent guard. Evil Dietrich and Efsane, our token Pull and Brujewski, Baroness Sonia of Prague, nimble-fingered Gerhard, Ian Jameson and Fletch the Bard. We are the rats of the Rapier League, we spread the swashing plague, and you never know where we might next go till our plans are ripe and laid. Through the south now sickness raged, it was time to disengage and teach our terror to the torporous north. So we veered our vermin venture up the road to Yaravetler like the hosts of hell issuing forth. And our tainted and envenomed whispers poisoned Thorbjorn Grey Whiskers, That the storied horrid lord that the archivist record is now addicted to the Spanish sword.
We are the rats of the Rapier League, we spread the swashing plague, and you never, never know where we might next go till our plans are ripe and laid.
Near half the realm was waxing nauseous, Wartooth warned us to be cautious, so we learned to lurk like feckin' footpads. But though we cloaked our claws for quiet, no cape could quell or curb the riot of a kingdom in convulsions, egads. Then across the sea do we aroint, and passing Doña Kayla as our point. Into silver swords we floated, netting though our ranks were bloated, noxious James the Rat and Kirk his comrade.
We are the rats of the Rapier League, we spread the swashing plague, and you never, never know where we might next go till our plans are ripe and laid.
Neither talisman nor relic can reverse our epidemic, no elixir can retard. For we never sleep or slumber, and we're greater far in number than the spots on a leopard. Ask not for whom fate next knocks, without warning strike the rapier pox. And we'll cut and thrust and parry till our foes lie weak and weary, as our scourge surges ever forward.
We are the rats of the Rapier League, we spread the swashing plague, and you never, never know where we might next go till our plans are ripe and laid.
For we are the rats of the plague,
Yes, we are the rats of the plague, beware of the rats of the plague. Out upon the frozen tundra, where the ice and snow allow, there lives a lonely creature, it's the Arctic polar cow. Some have thought it merely mythic, for it's seldom told of now, but I'm here to give you warning of the perilous polar cow. It's got icicles for udders, a white coat as soft as silk, there's snowshoes on its hooves, and it does produce ice milk. But it's crafty, wise, and cunning, a ferocious fighter too. The polar bear he does beware when he hears that dreaded moo! For the polar cow's carnivorous, likes the taste of me and you. To trap its prey it knows to build a seeming safe igloo. Then it pounces out from hiding as its victims crawling forth. Eat an Eskimo from head to toe, battle cattle of the north. So beware this baleful bovine, pernicious porter, house of doom. No, do not laugh at the dreadnought calf, lest your entrails it consume. Stay away from mauling mavericks, for my tale's no bull, I vow. That most hazardous of heifers, it's the perilous polar cow. Out upon the frozen tundra, where the ice and snow allow, there lives a lonely creature, it's the Arctic polar cow. Some have thought it merely mythic, for it's seldom told of now. But I'm here to give you warning of the perilous polar cow. So do not hear the snow bum steer, but the perilous polar cow. Say moo.
Say moo?
Moo! Moo!
Oh, say moo! Moo!
Damn it, froggy cows! Sacre moo! In Scarlet Town, where I was born, two star-crossed souls were dwelling, both locked in love and combat they, and one was Barbara Allen. 'Twas in the merry month of May, when green buds they were swelling, sweet William in his coffin lay, in love with Barbara Allen. He took himself into the town, to where she was a-dwelling, but found he could not enter there, without leave of Barbara Allen. And slowly, slowly she looked up, her gaze mixed love and ire. 'Tis wedded I would be to you, but you are a vampire. So you are sick, yes, very sick. You never can be wellin', I must now stake you through the heart, said Slayer.
Barbara Allen. Then slowly, slowly she stood up, and slowly she drew nigh him, with wooden stake in dainty hand. Young man, it's time for dying. They went into a green, green field, each other for to do in, fought with kung fu and jiu-jitsu. This was their way of wooing. He bit her sore, she stabbed him deep, and now her tears have fallen. Sweet William has turned unto dust. He's staked by Barbara Allen. Oh, mother, go dig my grave. Dig it both deep and narrow. Sweet William died by me today. I'll die by him tomorrow. They buried her in the old churchyard. His dust they sprinkled nigh her, and so their tryst is done at last. The Slayer and Vampire.
I am a crossbow maker, making crossbows what I do. And I live in my shop with my wife, Mrs. Moo. I'm known in every land that the wind doth blow, and I go by the name of Old Danulo. Of all the trades a man can have, arbalestin is the best, for when my back gets tired, I can sit me down and rest. I play on my lute when there's nothing more to do, or stare at my cat and we play peekaboo. My friend Don Duper came a-knocking at my door, shouting, "Hurry, old man, don't you know we're at war?" I bundled up my bows and a blower tore too, and we bolted off to Pennsic like a skip to the loo. I'd heard men tell that war was hell, but I never quite believed till I was wounded in the battle, more by luck than bloody deed. The truth of the matter is, and I'll tell you no lie, that while winding up my stone bow, I shot myself in the eye. They carried me to the rear, and I damn near cried as visions of my life and loves and sins passed me by. And though I soon recovered, I was never quite the same, for I'd learned a thing or two about this fragile mortal game. So play the lute and never shoot the crossbow like a clown. Don't let the mucky mucks bother you or dweebs get you down. Suck the marrow out of life, 'cause you never know when you'll go. Here's good night, and God be with you, says old Danulo. Between matins and logs, lonely vigil watch I walk, minutes marked by flame as candle melts away. Relief comes when night is through, with each dawn is hope renewed. My betrothed is a man in princely prime. Endless line of chirurgeons, hurry-scurry surgeons, to and fro come and go to heal my man, while I within this tower outwait the weary hours. Simple watchmaiden am I shall not cry. Hark the bells from tears to known, toll a cold relentless drone. Candle fire adds a cadence few men heed. Round the restless room time creeps, fraying will and mocking sleep. Holy Mother, wake my man from this bad dream. Endless line of well-wishers, both friends and favor fishers, in a trance bow and dance before my man. I pray in vain for power to shed this weight of hours. Weary watchmaiden am I cannot cry. In the dusk after vespers, speaking in soft whispers, Visitors are swept away as flame light fades, and I alone remain, dear, awaiting dawn of our year. My beloved, leave me strength to face the day. Endless line of grown children, a sea of grieving pilgrims, as grains of wheat, so they meet to mourn my man, while I descend this tower and mask the weary hours. Regal watchmaiden am I shall not cry.
Heroes are sung of in legends, heroes are dreamed of in dreams. Let each man who would be called hero think well upon all it means. A hero's reputation is heavy, for him expectations run high. His shoes they grow too big for filling, as his height seems to stretch toward the sky. A hero's supposed to be fearless, though his life with peril is fraught. Can any man fulfill this legend? And was this the life that you sought? Heroes are sung of in legends, heroes are dreamed of in dreams. Let each man who would be called hero think well upon all it means. A hero beheaded a monster, while a man made an animal die. Only one of these does birth a legend. Just what is the difference and why? The first man's acclaimed, not the second, though the two deeds they were much the same. Is it a matter of fame or charisma, or a witness they're praising his name? Heroes are sung of in legends, heroes are dreamed of in dreams. Let each man who would be called hero think well upon all it means. For now that you're known as a hero, your quiet life is at an end. You'll be sought out, respected, exalted, but what man will just be your friend? The name hero can be a blessing, the name hero can be a curse. Let each man who's lived with this honor decide if life's better or worse. Heroes are sung of in legends, heroes are dreamed of in dreams. Let each man who would be called hero think well upon all it means. Think well upon all that it means.
On a path trod in haste through the vast North Shield wastes, at a crossroads I met an old man, tall, steadfast as an oak, slow of speech, softly spoke. Like some sentinel bear he did stand, bid me take rest from my fool's errand quest, offered his hand, and I gaped in wonder and awe at Thorbjorn's reach. Yes, I gaped in wonder at Thorbjorn's reach. When our land was yet young, as marauder he'd come in the vanguard of the dire dark horde. But as the years galloped by, mid-realmers came to rely on the strength of his venerable sword. Blade broad or thin, ship's oars for limbs, heart of Heimdall, hosts of foes gained glorious doom. Within Thorbjorn's reach, hosts of foes gained glory. Within Thorbjorn's reach. No mere master of war, but ancient patron of lore, his love of learning won legions of friends. In his book-bound stead home, he was Tarchon of tomes, leading younglings where'er their search paths might wend. Aging like wine, deeply delving life's mine, nearing dream's end. Our fool world made wiser where touched by Thorbjorn's reach. Our fool world made wiser by Thorbjorn's reach. Now at a crossroads I stand once more, clasping the hand of a man who in the fore has ere gone. But his eyes say at last, time calls others to pass. Here shall he stand till the eternal dawn. Grey guardian bear, watching what next we dare, urging our son, journey brave and boldly, my friends, beyond Thorbjorn's reach. Journey brave and boldly, beyond Thorbjorn's reach.
There are those who crave great danger, dare to dance the razor's edge. They would rather ride the thunder, walk a tightrope or a ledge. If a life that's lived too safely makes you wish that you were dead, think the army life's too timid. Be an alchemist instead. We turn base metals into gold, experiment with salt and mold. A life exciting as can be, the mystic art of alchemy. We grind a powder oh so fine, mix arsenic with iodine, then add some sulfur to a cup and boom! We find ourselves blown up! Now many may disparage us and say we're bloody fools. It's true that actuarials place us in high-risk pools. A house roof is transitory. Up it blows, then down it falls. You will truly be successful when you blow out all four walls. We turn base metals into gold, experiment with salts and mold. A life exciting as can be, the mystic art of alchemy. We grind a powder oh so fine, mix arsenic with iodine, then add some sulfur to a cup and boom! We find ourselves blown up. In colleges of alchemists, the buildings will get wrecked. The explosions bang together in a Doppler effect. Through the course of each semester, detonations make a tune. You will sometimes set your sundial by the phases of the boom. We turn base metals into gold, experiment with salts and mold. A life exciting as can be, the mystic art of alchemy. We grind our powders oh so fine, mix arsenic with iodine, then add some sulfur to a cup and boom! We find ourselves blown up. By the phases of the boom, by the phases of the boom, you can sometimes set your sundial by the phases of the boom. Boom!
Gran'Nuncle Dagan came home yesterday. He who founded Cooper's war camp, he of whom the legends say, his mace once made men tremble, twice as mid-run king sat he. Then abruptly he embarked upon a 13-year odyssey, singing truth. Time obscures, budden factices, but myth endures, budden. Gran'Nuncle Dagan was the Earl of Budden, and the Earl of Budden was he. Gran'Nuncle Dagan was born in the horde, but chose knightly belt over Mongol cord. The sword brother's oath, that which is freely given may freely be returned, said Yang, the nauseating singing truth. Time obscures, budden, fact decays, but myth endures, budden. Gran'Nuncle Dagan was the Earl of Budden, and the Earl of Budden was he. Gran'Nuncle Dagan, pride of Pennsic 3, watched the dragon army retreat to win victory. Alone and unaided, Dagan stood against the foe, till tiny Tiger with a great sword clave our hero head to toe. Singing truth, time obscures, budden, fact decays, but myth endures, budden. Gran'Nuncle Dagan was the Earl of Budden, and the Earl of Budden was he. Gran'Nuncle Dagan lived to fight again, an altruistic dreamer, righteous champion. But cynicism fever's far more cruel than war's mailed fist. The deadly disillusion caught him, and it burned him to a crisp. Aww, singing truth, time obscures, budden, fact decays, but myth endures, budden. Gran'Nuncle Dagan was the Earl of Budden, and the Earl of Budden was he. Gran'Nuncle Dagan arose from the dead. Grim Pluto himself set him free and said, Tantalus is damned, and the rock taunts Sisyphus. But Hades can't hold an ego big as this, singing truth. Time obscures, budden, fact decays, but myth endures, budden. Gran'Nuncle Dagan was the Earl of Budden, and the Earl of Budden was he. Gran'Nuncle Dagan was the Earl of Budden, and the Earl of Budden was he.
The Midlandish army's an interesting lot. The man who would lead them, just what has he got? A name that will stand to this song? He has not. And this is why we say that no one writes songs for Van Andernach. Dietrich Van Andernach. No one writes songs for Van Andernach because his name won't rhyme. The sight of such scansion should cause you to fear this polysyllabically named engineer. It lands like an elephant right on your ear, and from it bards do flee. Wah! No one writes songs for Van Andernach. Dietrich Van Andernach. No one writes songs for Van Andernach because his name won't rhyme. There are those who suppose that the song is satirical, to claim that his name is a bit less than lyrical. Have the air put a square peg in a hole that was spherical, for until the day they do, there's no one writes songs for Van Andernach. Dietrich Van Andernach. No one writes songs for Van Andernach because his name won't rhyme. Teutonic phraseology should be verboten. A barbaric assault on a poor poet's noggin. Der Freischutz, Gesundheit und Versiert. Volkswagen. Such things just can't be sung. So no one writes songs for Van Andernach. Dietrich Van Andernach. No one writes songs for Van Andernach because his name won't rhyme. In comparison, Everest seems quite simply claimable. This name that even makes Orange look rival. Not even John Inchingham found it combinable with any verse he wrote. So no one writes songs for Van Andernach. Dietrich Van Andernach. No one writes songs for Van Andernach because his name won't rhyme. From this malign moniker you can bet this sesquipedalian sobriquet. Abuse like this song will be all he does get, or we'll just call him Bob. Hey! No one writes songs for Bob. 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 No one writes songs for Bob, even though his name now rhymes again. No one writes songs for Van Andernach. Dietrich Van Andernach. No one writes songs for Van Andernach because his name won't rhyme.
Who ever weeps for the Queen the queen of yesterday's reign. Once the crown has been passed to a new dragon lass, who e'en remembers her name, her name, her name, who e'en remembers her name. Do you remember Queen Lisa, who reigned such a short while ago? She repaired a rude hole in the ranks of the rose, and she shored up the orders of laurels and pelicans, progressing throughout her realm to its very ends, visiting places where monarchs were mythical beasts. How many bothered to thank her? Who ever weeps for the queen of yesterday's reign? Once the crown has been passed to a new dragon lass, who e'en remembers her name, her name, her name, who e'en remembers her name. Do you remember Tangwhistle, fair swan of Eldemir's shore? To the realm she brought laughter and sadness and madness. To her side we were drawn like doomed moths to the firelight, eagerly aimed toward our seasonal tiger fight, yearning and striving to crown her with victory's wreath. What prize did she win by her labor? Who ever weeps for the queen of yesterday's reign? Once the crown has been passed to a new dragon lass, who e'en remembers her name, her name, her name, who e'en remembers her name. Do you remember shy Ilsa, gentle flicker in the worm's fiery roar? Ariake the sprite queen, formidable Catherine, Brunhilde beloved of Tregurtzi's folk, Shauna the distant as Hector hath spoke, Ellen hoard seamstress, St. Iceland war dove, child queen Emmeline Isabel Aylin's love, Fancy Mafonwi, courageous Sir Fern, Genevieve, Shara of Seldom Rest's third, renowned cook Tikaya, outspoken Caitlin, elf-maid Thrilly, Valmy Kirstin, Zarina, the whip by Bane Borshaven cursed, feast setter Kay Helen, Queen Catherine the First, Selenay, Lindandlerin, winsome Armida, Jessica, Purple Peer, Sweet Willow Maker, Merowald's Gwendolen, Andy Fountain, Alexis Magira of Thadestyr Pike's reign, Mona the dancer who flirted with Yang, Hymora Brajad, and Diana Lane. In whose minds do these ladies still linger? Who ever weeps for the queen of yesterday's reign? Once the crown has been passed to a new dragon lass, who e'en remembers her name, her name, her name, who e'en remembers her name. Will you remember today's queen, perched high on her hourglass throne? Sundry peers and their kin leap to meet every whim, and her wake is awash with new would-be nobility, scheming and dreaming of regal serendipity, bowing and scraping and whining, "Your Majesty." Which way will the wind blow tomorrow? Who ever weeps for the queen of yesterday's reign? Once the crown has been passed to a new dragon lass, who e'en remembers her name, her name, her name, who e'en remembers her name.
Pins and needles, stitch and sew, beads and bobbin, lace do go on dress and doublet, vest and gown. Pass the silver thimble round. First the fabric you must find to fit the garb you have in mind. Then trim and buttons, notions, needs, plus a string or so of beads. Pins and needles, stitch and sew, beads and bobbin, lace do go on dress and doublet, vest and gown. Pass the silver thimble round. Now measure, mark, and cut to size the pieces that will make your prize. There's one thing more for work proceeds. Get a few score more of beads. Pins and needles, stitch and sew, beads and bobbin, lace do go on dress and doublet, vest and gown. Pass the silver thimble round. With sharpened needles start to sew, the pieces now together go. For one thing more this dress now pleads, add a gross or more of beads. Pins and needles, stitch and sew, beads and bobbin, lace do go on dress and doublet, vest and gown. Pass the silver thimble round. The piece is sewn, now starts the fun, as decorations are begun. And so this dress excess exceeds, we'll add 1,000 beads. Pins and needles, stitch and sew, beads and bobbin, lace do go on dress and doublet, vest and gown. Pass the silver thimble round. To finish in conspicuous style, so couching thread on by the mile. There's one thing more, so all succeeds. It's billions and billions and billions of beads. Yes, billions and billions and billions of beads. Pins and needles, stitch and sew, beads and bobbin, lace do go on dress and doublet, vest and gown. Pass the silver thimble round. Pins and needles, stitch and sew, stitch and bobbin, lace and go on, lace and go on, dress and gown. Pass and the silver thimble round. Pins and needles, stitch and sew, stitch and bobbin, lace and go on, lace and go on, dress and gown. Pass and the silver thimble round. Thimble round, yes, pass the silver thimble round.
This has been our Pennsic Denied concert. I'm Master John Inchingham the Fool.
I'm Master Cerian Cantwr.
Thank you for attending.
We know it was a long trip and a difficult one.
Safe journey home. And anon, sing the kings of the mid-realm. Sovereigns must change as the seasons go by. Each springtime is gladly crowned summer's warlord of glory. But autumn crowns in turn winter's lord of ale and ice. 'Twas long, long ago when the dragon first awakened to find all his lands filled with mortals whom he feared. The worm laughed with wicked wrath as his grim curse was spoken. Let every mid-realm king reign but half a year. And anon, sing the kings of the mid-realm. Sovereigns must change as the seasons go by. Each springtime is gladly crowned summer's warlord of glory. But autumn crowns in turn winter's lord of ale and ice. Our present king looks down from the throne, his sword arm won him. He fought and planned for years, now he wonders at the cost. What fool desires such a heavy crown of burdens? springs, full knowing that his reign lasts but till the autumn frost. And anon, sing the kings of the mid-realm. Sovereigns must change as the seasons go by. Each springtime is gladly crowned summer's warlord of glory, but autumn crowns in turn winter's lord of ale and ice. The dragon thought his spell would enslave the mid-realms people. How could they not despair if their lords were doomed to fall? But years passed and kings reigned in unbroken line undaunted. And now the worm must serve at the scepter's beck and call. And anon, sing the kings of the mid-realm. Sovereigns must change as the seasons go by. Each springtime is gladly crowned summer's warlord of glory, but autumn crowns in turn winter's lord of ale and ice. And anon, sing the kings of the mid-realm. Sovereigns must change as the seasons go by. Each springtime is gladly crowned summer's warlord of glory, but autumn crowns in turn winter's lord of ale and ice. And anon, sing the kings of the mid-realm. Sovereigns must change as the seasons go by. Each springtime is gladly crowned summer's warlord of glory, but autumn crowns in turn winter's lord of ale and ice. And anon, sing the kings of the mid-realm. Sovereigns must change as the seasons go by. Each springtime is gladly crowned summer's warlord of glory, but autumn crowns in turn winter's lord of ale and ice. I've decided to be inebriated. I will try not to steal focus.
Okay.
But I have something to do now.
All right.
Okay.
Very good. Boing!
Yeah, don't knock me over though.
Yeah.
So I practice obsidian tactics, and I emulate Jaguar Knight stealth, but I can't gag the nagging conviction that I'm making a fool of myself. But I will wear this red belt with great honor. No.
That's not your belt.
That's not my belt.
It has been a while.
Okay. That one I didn't screw up in practice.
We can take a half step left.
Even further.
Yeah, that way I don't hit you when I move.
I'll hit you back.
Fair.
We continued on south to the sewer's mouth before the fortress of De La Mare. Though the walls were tall and wide, still we quickly crept inside out of the...
In an Eskimo from head to toe, battle cattle of the north, somewhere this bell... Blah!
I play on my lute when there's nothing more to do, or instead...
A life that's lived too safely makes you wish that I just messed up the verse. Take two. The two men both moved purposefully the other's life to seize. Sir Galen did...
Who wrote this crap?
I don't know. That guy stinks. No one writes songs for one Andernach. Outtake one Andernach. No one writes songs for one Andernach because his name won't rhyme. Bum bumpy doodum badum buddy doo dum bumpy doodle dee doodle dee.
Bugger. And now on your instrument you can put Foley Man. Well, sort of.
Faux Foley Man.
Faux Foley Man.
Faux Foley Man.
Faux Foley Man. You really are a faux Foley Man.
Faux Foley Man, your sound effects are fakey. Faux Foley Man,
faux Foley Man, your sound effects are fakey. Yeah. We don't get out enough, do we?
Not recently.
No, Lord, no.
I don't remember how it begins. Are we rolling?
We are.
Oh, okay, that's silly.
Yeah.